So we just did a quick morning harvest. We have been getting off these bean plants, one of these baskets, like every other day. We have tons of beans this year. And then just today alone, off the 2 cucumber plants, we got 11 cucumbers. We are probably looking at 15 or more that are still out there, going to be ready to harvest in the next couple days. So we definitely will be growing these again next year if we decide to grow cucumbers. These are the silver slicers. They are just super prolific, and we'll show you when we go outside and start our tour. But I kind of want to just give you an idea of what we've been pulling off the garden. Everything's really slow this year, but then when it's coming, it's just coming. So let's get started on our August tour. Hey everyone, welcome back to Ontario Gardening. Today we are doing our August garden tour. We're going to start a little bit backwards here. Usually we start on the other side, but I'm over here, so we're going to start here. So our Brussels sprouts, still an epic fail. Nothing ever became of them. But as we talked about in the last video, this is a great decoy plant, or a trap crop is what they call it, meaning we've kept it here so that all the bugs are kind of attracted to this, and they eat this as opposed to our other crops that we don't want them to eat. So here we have our okra. We've got some growth on it, as you can see in there. I'm not super familiar with okra. I know it likes to grow in super hot climates, and I feel like it just could be doing better. But this is a total experiment, these 3 bags. I do experimental plants that I've never tried growing before in felt bags, just to kind of get a feel of the plant, see how they grow, see if we even like it. So that's the okra. Our eggplant is doing phenomenal. If I can find it down here. This is our Black Beauty eggplant, and it's grown really well so far. We're about to harvest that this week and make some eggplant parmesan. I'm really excited. I've never tried that before. Our pollinator garden is doing super fantastic. Everything is growing, but as you can see, it's like busting at the seams because these sunflowers that I planted, like, they're as tall, if not taller, than our shed. So we're looking at 10 feet tall sunflowers, and they haven't even begun. This one's starting to put off heads up there, but like, it's craziness. We have, the Japanese beetles are starting to bugger off. So we have had strawberries again, which is nice because we stopped getting them for a while because, as you can see, the Japanese beetles were just taking them over. So that's really nice to see in our hanging baskets. We've got so many different varieties. As you've seen in a previous video, we are growing 15 different varieties of zinnia. I don't even know how to explain it. The beauty in here, I'm so excited. I've never grown anything for beauty before. I've always pretty much just grown for food. Some of these zinnias are just absolutely gorgeous. Like, there's one of those candy striped ones. They're just absolutely beautiful. And then we've got our cosmos are coming in up here. So many different varieties, and I'm just living for all of them. And there's another sunflower up in the back there. Now, the one thing I have to say that's struggling is over here in the corner, these blueberry bushes. Now, they started putting off little blueberry fruits, which was awesome. But this pollinator garden pretty much took over and has shaded them out. So I'm going to come out here and in the next couple days, with the exception of the sunflower, I think I'm going to just call it a loss and cut everything around it just to give it some space. So it's getting the sun. I'm making sure it's getting water. It's the first year in here, and I really want to make sure that it's getting established. So we're going to be doing that. So walking around, we've got some sunflowers that have actually opened and didn't get so tall. So these are just beautiful. Sunflowers are one of my favorite things. We've had one that have lost its petals. I don't know if you can see in here, but it's hard to tell, but it's actually getting some sunflower seeds in here. So I'm really hoping to kind of let this go. If the squirrels and birds don't get it, I'm going to try roasting them and or harvesting some seeds from this. So super exciting. As you've seen, our beans have just gone wild. We are collecting from them pretty much daily, if not every other day, a full basket full. It's just craziness. The beans just keep coming. A lot of the ones towards the back, I have that nifty tool to grab them, but anything that can't get grabbed, we're just going to leave at the back there, and they're going to become seeds for harvest. So if you don't know, with a green bean, if you leave it go and go and go and just leave it on the bush until the pod pretty much dries up, you can save those beans and plant them for next year. That's where a lot of these beans came from, was harvest from last year. Our hanging baskets are doing okay. A lot of the coleus has survived, but most of the celosia has not. A lot of the squirrels have come and dug in. Our zucchini plants are next door. Let's see if our garden puppy wants a snack. Hey, you. What are you doing in the squash? You don't like squash. How about a bean? Okay, bye. Enjoy. So our zucchinis are next door, along with our squash. So I have figured out what these are. They are yellow neck squash. We have had lots produced on this plant. These are one of the first things. It's like every time I come out here and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rip up the zucchini now because we don't really need it anymore. It's time to plant our fall crops. Every time that happens, I come out and I find a new zucchini. But in the next week or so, these are going to be one of the first things to get torn out, because we're going to start planting stuff for our fall garden. I have my little seedling transplants that I've started inside hardening off under the gazebo, and we're going to get those planted. So next tour, you will not see the zucchini. The rutabagas are going to stay. Those will stay probably till the end of season, because we want to make sure that those are nice and big underground. We have Swiss chard here that came in beautifully. I got these seeds from a friend, Katie. Shout out for the seeds. These are all going to come out as well. I am going to saute some, and then we're going to just keep them harvested probably in the freezer for the rest of it, and then saute it in our soups and in our eggs, things like that. And then coming over here, our carrots have just gone insane. I've thinned them more than once, but they're doing very well. I did notice some the other day in here. They're starting to pop out of the ground. Sorry, having a hard time here. These are the coreless Nantes, so they're not going to get super huge. But yeah, they're going to be great for chopping up and freezing to use for our casserole. We actually ordered a new freezer, so that's going to be delivered this week. So it's going to make harvesting so much better, because, for example, next door we have all of these stalks of celery. They're doing really well. We're going to come out here this week and blanch them. So if you're following along my videos, I will do a separate video for blanching them. If you don't know what that is, you're basically wrapping the stalks with either cardboard or newspaper or some sort of blockage to block the sun from going to the stalks, and instead just continue to hit the foliage upstairs. That prevents the chloroform, I believe, or the chlorophyll from going down to the stalks, and instead up here. So what it's especially supposed to do is take the bitterness out of your celery and bring it up to the leaves, and that's what we're chopping off anyways. I have some green onions to harvest. I usually let them go bigger than this, but this year I really want to experiment with chopping them down and then seeing if they come back. So it's to my understanding that if you chop down, I've never done it before, I usually let these grow big and then cut them, harvest them, and freeze them. It's to my understanding if we chop these down when they're smaller, they will grow back. So I'm excited to see if that works. Next door we've got our chives. These are garlic chives. For those of you who again have followed me along, you know that I have never been able to successfully do this, to grow chives. I finally have. The potatoes next door keep coming over and trying to shade them out, so I keep chopping at the potatoes. Hopefully it doesn't affect the potatoes too much. Speaking of, we've got our potatoes next door, mixed with a few cucumbers. The potatoes flowered about 2 weeks ago and have died off. So in the next, I would say 2 weeks, I'm going to pull these out. Even if I have new potatoes, those will be perfect. And I'm going to plant some stuff here. So those will probably be out in the next 3 weeks. These will be out around the same time. These cucumbers will not stop producing. I tried silver slicers this year at the advice of a few different YouTubers who grow them. They were not kidding when they said how prolific these things were. Every single day I come out here and I have more cucumbers. Like I can see 3 just standing here right now that are gonna be ready to pick in the next couple days. And I just picked 4 like 2 minutes ago. I picked 12 this morning. My fridge is completely full of them. I will grow these again next year for fresh eating, but I'm only going to grow 1 plant, and I think I'm going to do it out of the garden. So I'm going to be ripping these out. There's Jelly Mellies back there that I don't even think came to anything. I'm ripping those out too. So in your next tour, all of these cucumbers are going to be gone and probably replaced with either cabbage or broccoli, cauliflower, something along those lines. Next door we have the peppers. The peppers are doing well, but I think they're getting shaded out by these cucumbers, so that'll be another good reason to get rid of these. But overall, I have got some of shishitos, which is super exciting. It's the first time I've ever grown a shishito. I've got some bell peppers. In here I have some of those natapinos, so the heatless jalapeno peppers. I've got banana peppers growing back there. I've got so many different peppers, and I can't wait to see more of what I have once I get rid of these cucumbers. The marigolds, after being in here for 3 months, have finally bloomed. The one marigold plant that I left to attract the pests to, and it has been working. I come out every night and probably pick like 10 Japanese beetles off of this plant. So this has been a perfect decoy plant to stay away from things like these tomatoes. So super tall, but these are working. I have tomatoes everywhere. They still haven't riped yet. I feel like it's taking forever this year, but I know I'm not the only one with this problem. They're all heirlooms, and I know those take a lot longer, but the trellis seems to be doing what it's supposed to for the most part. As you can see here, there's the hog panel, and I continue to tie it up, even though these plants are like 10 feet tall now. It's definitely keeping them where they're supposed to be this year, as opposed to flopping all over. And anything that has kind of flopped over out of the garden, I've been keeping trim on the sides here. At this point, I don't want my plants to continue to flower. I want them to focus on producing the plants that are already on there, the fruit that's already on there. So I've been going through and snipping off random buds, but you can see just everywhere. And there's a bunch of fruit inside too. So yeah, the apple trees still haven't done anything. Here are my plants I've got hardening off here. So I've got all this broccoli, I've got some cabbage, some cauliflower, so that's going to go into our fall garden. I've got the tower with different lettuces in it that is doing well. I'm going to harvest all this off, and I think I'm going to do a fall plant of all lettuce in here just to kind of continue to experiment with it. Maybe I'll throw some basil in there, see if it survives. And then we've got our tea tower over here, continuously harvesting. I've got an entire Ziploc bag inside full of dried herbs. These are all for teas. So we've got like our strawberry mint, the chocolate mint. I've got lemon balm, mandarin balm, pineapple sage, a whole bunch of other different spearmints, menthol mints. So a bunch of different mints and stuff for our teas. I've been drying them inside. Like I said, storing them for tea for the winter as a loose tea. And I'm super excited for that. Other than that, it's time to rest. I've got my chair out here. For anybody looking for a good farm read, I am started this. It's called The Rural Diaries by Hilary Britton Morgan. The millennial in me knows her from One Tree Hill. You might know her from other stuff. You know her husband from Walking Dead. It's all about trading in their LA life for a farm and raising their kids on a farm. It's good so far. But yeah, that is our tour for August. Like I said, in September, you're going to see entirely different stuff in here. My asparagus, hopefully you'll be able to see that once I kind of clean this up. I forgot to mention that's doing well, but not as well as it could be. It's all flopped over. It's getting shaded out by this stuff. So yeah, anyways, continue to join us for more canning and gardening tutorials. We'll talk to you later. Bye.